know, might not know, today is Narsimha Chaturdashi. Can you hear me well, even though my voice is so sore?
Yes, yes,
Yes, Mataji.
All right. Very auspicious day of appearance of Narsimha Dev. Okay, let's start our session. Okay, let's start. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjan Shalakaya Chakshirunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Taptakanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishpanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, quick recap. What's the name of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita? What's the name of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita that we did? Am I audible?
Yoga.
Arjuna Vishad.
Arjuna Vishad Yoga, okay. Or observing the army in the battlefield. What's the name of the second chapter? Gita Saransh, or contents of the Bhagavad Gita summarized. What's the name of the third chapter?
Karma Yoga.
Yoga.
Okay, so today is the fourth chapter. The name of the chapter is Jnana Yoga, or Yoga of Knowledge. Gyan means knowledge, but that knowledge that links us to Krishna is called Jnana Yoga. So yoga is a special suffix that's attached. Okay, so let's pay our obeisances to Shri Radha Govinda before we proceed. This is what we did yesterday. Arjuna asked Krishna question: should I renounce or should I act? In first two verses, where the keyword was that Ekam Vada, tell me one thing, Krishna. Then Krishna emphasized the importance of Nishkam Karma Yoga over just Jnana Yoga. Just having knowledge of the soul is not enough. Work for me. And then he also gave a stepwise instruction as to how to go from the platform of working for one's own satisfaction to working for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he gave another reason to Arjuna to fight, is that when you fight, you're actually setting an example of how a leader of the society should behave. And then there we found a reason, the answer to the fourth reason that Arjuna had put up why he's not going to fight was destruction of the family dynasty. Then Arjuna asked that, okay, even if I want to act in the right manner, even if I want to fight and lead an example, what is it that stops us? What is that even if I want to do, and not only just stops us, but is very strong. This force is very strong. What's that force? Krishna named that force as, what was the name that Krishna gave? What was the name?
Lust.
Very nice. Lust. And he talks about different places of sitting of the lust. Does anyone remember? Because I think this is a question in your quiz also. What are the different kinds of lust? Different kinds. What are the analogies given? I'll give one hint. Smoke covered, fire covered by smoke.
Womb, ma'am.
Mirror covered by dust.
Oh,
Child in a womb.
child in the womb. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so today he's gonna talk about knowledge. Okay, knowledge in different levels. Again, don't worry about this summary. This will make more sense at the end of the overview of the chapter. So transcendental knowledge about Krishna. Krishna is the goal of all path and the creator of Varnashram system. Then Karma Yoga, then sacrifices leading to transcendental knowledge. Then the summary. So this chapter begins with a history of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna speaks the first verse in this chapter, history of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan manave praha manu rikshvakave abravit. The blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Okay, so Krishna is tracing the history that long time ago, Krishna instructed this imperishable science, and the Sanskrit word is avyayam. Because many people say that, oh, Bhagavad Gita has been around for so many years, which we will now figure out for how many years, by the way, in this particular chapter. So maybe the message has changed, maybe there are some updates, right? We have this software updates, we have a lifestyle update, we have the food upgrades. So maybe this message is updated or upgraded. But Krishna is saying this knowledge is avyayam, imperishable science of yoga. It's good as it is. It doesn't need to be edited, doesn't need to be changed, doesn't need to be upgraded or downgraded. It's good because it's imperishable. Imperishable means that it is not under the influence of the time. I keep repeating the same thing, basically, I think in every class. It is not under the influence of the time means that it's not that Bhagavad Gita message in the past was something else, and in the present it means something else, and in the future it will change. No, it stays the same. Okay. So he said he instructed it to sun god who lives in sun planet. So we don't have it on earth yet. So the sun god name at that time was Vivasvan. So sun god is a position, like we have president, prime minister, chief minister. Those are the designation, and different people occupy those different positions at different times. That time when Krishna instructed this Bhagavad Gita to sun god, the sun god was Vivasvan. Vivasvan gave it to his son Manu. This Manu is Swayambhava Manu. There are 7 Manus. This is Swayambhava Manu. Okay, so Manu also is not living on earthly planet. So it's not there in the earth yet. So the Krishna gave to Vivasvan, Vivasvan gave to Manu. Manu gave it to his son, whose name is Ikshvaku. And then what happened? 1 second. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashrayo vidhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapaha. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood in that way. Okay, so Ikshvaku brought it to earth because Manu is the father of mankind, and then his son, King Ikshvaku, was the first king of the earth, and then he brought it to earth. So, and then this is a chain, right? We can look at the chain, Krishna giving it to Vivasvan, Vivasvan giving it to Manu, Manu giving it to Ikshvaku king, and then Ikshvaku king giving it to the saintly kings, Raj Rishi. The Sanskrit word is Raj Rishi. This is Raj Rishi. So anyone who understood Bhagavad Gita was the king who understood Bhagavad Gita was not just a Raja, but Raj Rishi, saintly king. But what happened in due course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So parampara. That is why Prabhupada named his translation of Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita as it is, as it was received in the disciplic succession. The Prabhupada explains a little bit about the significance of parampara. Bhagavad Gita is coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is transcendental knowledge and must not be altered in any way. The knowledge of Gita must be accepted without material interpretation or mental speculation, and it must be understood by the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita must be accepted from someone who has achieved the Lord's mercy. That is the proper qualification. Having learned it properly from someone, having the proper qualification, who learned it properly, etc. And this is parampara. Okay. And this is the unique quality of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So tomorrow when you go to buy any book, not just Bhagavad Gita, of course, for sure Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, or you go to buy any book for your own purpose, look at the parampara. Who is the author? The author learned it from who? Who the teacher, at least go back 3-4 generations and figure out. Not that one person just writes his or her own experience. Then that's not as it is. That's their own interpretation of what it is. Okay, Bhagavat Gita. Gita means song. Bhagavad Gita means a song which is sung by Krishna. That's Bhagavad Gita. But if we misinterpret the message, if we change the dialogue, if we put our opinion or advice in it, then it becomes my Gita. You know, if I do it, then it will be Prem Kishori Gita, not Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we have to be honest in that way. So there are 4 lineages which are authenticated from where one can learn this science in an unaltered way. First, parampara, as I think I said this yesterday too, comes from Lord Brahma. Krishna spoke to Brahma, and then this is called Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Madhvacharya is the most prominent acharya. Then the other Sampradaya comes from Lakshmi. Ramanujacharya is the most prominent acharya. Then the other Sampradaya comes from Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava. He's always sitting in meditation of Sankarshan form of Vishnu, the topmost devotee of Krishna. It's called Rudra Gita. So he, in most prominent acharya in that parampara, is Vishnu Swami. And then 4 Kumaras. If somebody is following that lineage, then the most prominent acharya is Nimbarka Acharya. Okay. So, so Krishna is saying, okay, I did it long time ago, but what happened that eventually the science it appears that it got lost. So there is a need for reestablishing it. Sa evayam mayate dya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosti me sakhacheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you're my devotee as well as friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Basically, what's happening here is that Krishna has chosen Arjun to retell Bhagavad Gita, and he's telling here that what makes him choose Arjun. He could have chosen someone else. So these are the qualifications. So if we have to understand Bhagavad Gita, then we have to be very clear about our intention. Arjun's qualification that made Krishna choose him, or that attracted Krishna, was Arjun is a devotee and friend of Krishna, and Arjun accepts Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjun is already accepting that Krishna is quite capable to answer my questions. But at this point, Arjun says, wait a minute, aren't we of the same age, Krishna? Me and you are of the same age, and you're telling me that you spoke Bhagavad Gita millions of years ago to sun god Vivaswan. So Arjun is saying, how can Krishna, born as son of Devaki, instruct Vivaswan, who is millions of years old? Arjuna vacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha katham etad vijaniyam tad tvam adau proktavan iti. The sun god, Vivaswan, is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Make sense? Is it so far clear what's happening? Krishna, make sense? Or what makes Arjun pause at this point and ask a question?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mother.
Okay, thank you. So, but how? You're my contemporary. How can you speak Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, who is millions of years older than both of us? So Arjun, we just said that Krishna accepted Arjun to speak Bhagavad Gita because Arjun has accepting Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this could outwardly look like that is Arjun doubting his contention of accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, Prabhupada explains this, that what makes Arjun ask this question, even though in the beginning Krishna has very clearly said that he's accepting him because he's a friend, because he's a devotee, because he accepts Krishna as who Krishna is. Arjun basically is trying to defy the demoniac and atheistic people who say Krishna is ordinary. And he also wants Krishna to speak authoritative. Okay, so it's basically for others that he's asking this question. All right, so this is, I'll just zoom through this because it's always very complex for me. But we are going to now identify how old is Bhagavad Gita which has been in our hands right now, which we are discussing right now, May 4th, 2023, and when was it really spoken? Okay, so we'll go from top to bottom. So we are in Kali Yuga. Okay, this right, the right bottom corner. The estimated duration of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Preceding Kali Yuga was a yuga called Dwapar Yuga. So every preceding yuga is the double of the succeeding yuga. So Dwapar Yuga age is 864,000 years. Before that was Treta Yuga, which was double of 864,000 years, which will be 1.296 million years. Before that was Satya Yuga, which will be double of Treta Yuga, which comes out to be 1.78 or 4 times of Kali Yuga. So if Kali Yuga is X, Dwapar Yuga is 2X, Treta Yuga is 3X, and Satya Yuga is 4X. All these yugas combined together are called one Divya Yuga. Okay, all of them. So they have their individual time duration, and when you add up, it total comes up to be 4.32 million years, which is 4 yugas, and is called one Divya Yuga. Now, Manvantara, or the life of Manu. The life of Manu is 71 such Divya Yugas. So 71 multiplied by 4.32 million years, which is this number. Okay, above that is Brahma, day of Brahma. Like we have our day of 12 hours, night of 12 hours. So day of Brahma, or our 12 hours of Brahma is what our 12 hours in terms of time is. What does it mean for Brahma's day? So Brahma's day is called Kalpa. So Brahma's day consists of 14 Manvantaras and 15 Sandhyas. Sandhya is a partial devastation. There is a total devastation and there is a partial devastation. So you can study that more in 3rd Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 30. I think it's chapter 30. 29 it starts and then it goes on to 30. So this comes out to our 12 hours is Brahma's 4.32. In our mathematics, 4.32 billion years is equivalent to Brahma's 12 hours. You know, like 1 rupee is equal to how many euros? 1 rupee is equal to how many dollars? Yeah, are you getting like what is the equation? So 12 hours of earthly planet is equal to Brahma's 4.32 billion years. That's the time. It's like unimaginable. So this is one day, and Brahma, and this is a duration of the night also. And then Brahma lives such 100 years, which comes out to be 311.04 trillion years. So long. So far, our Brahma, in this particular position where we are in terms of time, has passed his 50 years. So basically, he has passed 155.52 trillion years. And then so far, 6 Manvantaras are over. We are at the time of the 7 Manu, which is these many years in terms of life of Manu is past. 27 cycles of 4 yugas are over for now, which means that creation in the material world, at least in this particular time, is this many years old, 116.6400 million years. So Satya Yuga, we are in Kali Yuga, so Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. So this much past, this particular creation, we are in Kali Yuga. We have just entered Kali Yuga, which like about 5,000 years ago. Before that, how much time has passed in this particular time sphere is 3.8 million years. And the time elapsed in Kali Yuga is 5,117 years. The total duration of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. So basically, the life of Brahma is this one plus everything else. I mean, how do we get to this number? You add everything else. So 155.522 trillion years is what the answer is. And the life of Manu, this is all given in Bhagavad Gita. Everything that I'm saying is from the purport of, I think it's 4.4 and 4.5, everything. 27 cycles of 4 yugas are over. Life of Manu, because Manu is the father of the mankind. These many cycles of Satya, Treta, and Dwapar are over in this particular Divya Yuga. So these many years are over. And in Kali Yuga, we have passed this much time. So you add everything. This is the life that Manu has passed so far. He's been alive. Our Manu is alive for this many years right now. And if you remember, that Manu is the father of the mankind. So Manu basically brought Bhagavad Gita to earth, right? He gave it to Ikshvaku and Ikshvaku brought it to the earth. Do you remember? Are you still with me or gone? So accepting that the birth of Manu, before the birth of Manu, Gita was spoken by Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vivaswan. So Gita was spoken about 120 million years ago to Vivaswan. This was the time when it was first spoken. 120 million years. The reference is also there in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. It says in Mahabharata, Treta Yugadau Chato Vivaswan Manave Dadau Manu Chaloka Bhriti Artham Sutya Veksha Vakave Dadau Ikshvakuna Chakatito Vyapya Lokan Avastitaha. In the beginning of Treta Yuga millennium, the science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet, and the forefather of the Raghu dynasty in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in the human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. So Maharaj Ikshvaku, Treta appeared in Treta Yuga, right? Not in Satya Yuga. Lord Ram's pastime was going on in which yuga? Lord Ram's pastime was going on in which yuga?
Treta Yuga.
Treta
Very
Yuga.
nice. Thank you. Very nice. So okay, so that's why there is no Satya here in the calculation, no Satya Yuga. So do this maths. Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, this many years was the duration. Kali Yuga, we have passed like little 5,000 years. So Gita came to us 2 million years ago, our mathematics. So the book that we have in our hand right now, that we are trying to study, is 2 million years old knowledge on the earth. But it was originally spoken 120 million years ago. So long. It appears so long. But Shastras can go back. Okay, and this is just a glimpse of what's one day of Brahma. I don't know what it is. I lost count. Anyway, this is interesting. 1 second of Brahma is our 1 lakh years. There's a story of Revati marrying Balaram. And then, so Revati, Lord Balaram has a wife. Her name is Revati. And her father, Revati's father, went to consult with Brahma that who should he marry his very good daughter to. So when he went, Brahma was in meeting. So he was told to wait for 1 second. Because just 1 second, Brahma will be out. And when Brahma came back in his 1 second, and when Revati's father, I'm forgetting his name, I'm sorry, put up this question because he had gone with some proposals, Brahma said, oh, that was 1 lakh years ago. Those people are gone and dead. So this person was so sad that, my goodness, now my daughter will not be able to marry anyone. Said, no, I'm going to suggest someone that will that is not dependent on the time factor. So that's how Revati married Lord Balaram. 1 second. Just wait 1 second. Everything was gone. Okay. So Krishna is now going to answer Arjun's question, because Arjun has put up this question: how is it possible that you spoke this Bhagavad Gita to sun god Vivaswan, who is so old, and you are my contemporary? You are son of Devaki. You're my contemporary. You're just a couple of 100 years old. So Krishna answers this. Shri Bhagavanuvacha bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavcha Arjuna tani aham veda sarvani na tvam vedha parantapa. The personality of Godhead said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. So we cannot remember because our memory is gone. You know, if I ask you, what were you doing if you are over 10 years of age? What were you doing 10 years ago on this particular day of May at this particular time, whatever the time is at your place? How many of us can recollect? I have no idea. Yeah, any memory? Anybody remembers? Am I audible?
Mataji,
Will you
10 years
remember?
back, people will, we do not remember 10 minutes before exactly what we are doing it. 10 years is long way.
Thank you. Okay. So we don't remember. What makes us forget? What makes us forget? And how come Krishna is remembering? For that, let's understand a little about Krishna as Krishna talks about himself in this chapter. Okay. So what is the difference between our birth and Krishna's birth? How does Krishna appear? Ajo api san avyayatma bhuta namishvaro api san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. See this avyayatma, so avya word, imperishable or timeless, is again used. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Okay, so it's not that Krishna is taking birth like an ordinary person. The word used is, I still appear. So appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. It's like, let's say that you have to travel from one particular city to another particular city. There are two examples I can give to explain the meaning of the word appear versus being born. So let's say you're traveling from, let's say, Mumbai to Chennai. So you're going to figure out what mode of transportation we need to travel. And when you enter Chennai, everything is different. Everything, people are different, culture is different, food is different. So is it right to say that I have taken birth in Chennai? I'm born in Chennai? Or is it right to say that I appeared in this particular place? What will you say? What is your understanding?
For us, we are born, but Lord Krishna appeared.
Okay, thank you. So in this particular sentence, we will say, okay, I appeared from Mumbai to Chennai. I appeared, like I took this mode of transportation, I came. And Prabhupada gives an example of the sun. Sun, when it is rising on the east and setting on the west. So are we saying that east side is the mother of the sun? Or do we say that sun appears from the east side? Or do we say east side is the mother of the sun? Sun is born from the east side. What do we say?
Appears
From the east side. Yeah, very nice. So that's the difference.
But
yeah, somebody was saying something. I'm sorry, I don't know who was saying something. Anyway, okay, I'll continue. So appear. So Prabhupada explains the sun is appearing on the east side. Somebody was saying something and I'm sorry, I cannot tell who it was. Anyway, we can take the questions at the end. So when does Krishna appear? What makes Krishna appear? Yada idahi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata apyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Okay, so first of all, Krishna is not born. Krishna is appearing in his original transcendental form. Second of all, what's bringing him? This is the external reason. So Krishna has an external reason to come, and then there's an internal reason. Bhagavad Gita, this particular verse, when Krishna is explaining that, oh, there is so much decline in religious practice, and there's so much emergence or predominance of irreligion, then I come to reset the balance. Okay, or to subdue the irreligious activity. But actually, Krishna comes, internal reason is Krishna comes because Krishna's devotees request him to come. Like Devaki and Vasudev requested Krishna to appear. So that way Krishna came. So appear. Okay, why does Krishna appear? Paritranaaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. What is the benefit of knowing Krishna? What is the benefit of knowing like Krishna is not born, Krishna is appearing? Krishna is appearing because of the imbalance of religion and irreligious activity. And then he comes and then he annihilates or subdues the irreligious activities and establishes the dharma. What's the benefit? This particular verse is called Golden Verse of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, every verse is gold, is like a jewel in itself. But when Srila Prabhupada was asked this question, which is one verse which defines the essence of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada said this verse, ninth verse of 4th chapter. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha vyakta deham punarjanma neti mameti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjun. So what is the benefit? The benefit is that I will not have to take another birth. Tyakta deham punarjanma. Tyakta deham means that I leave this body or die. Punarjanma neti. No more rebirths. Then what happens? Attains my mam eti, comes to me, O Arjun, comes to me. So the problem is that how many of us are convinced that we really want to go to Krishna? So that is the purpose. This is Bhagavad Gita is a love letter from Krishna to all of us, each one of us across the whole globe, across the whole creation actually. Right? He's going to tell who am I, what are my qualities, what is my house look like, and then he's going to tell us who you are, what are your qualities, and where are you living right now, and what can you live with me and enjoy life in a different manner. So that's what the love letter is like. What are the contents of a love letter? Lover writes to the other person what qualities the other person has which are attractive, what qualities this writer has which are attractive, and how they can make their both life wonderful, right? So this is what Bhagavad Gita is in jest. Krishna is an invitation. So Krishna's form is spiritual, our form is temporary. Spiritual means, again, not under the influence of time. Okay. So the other day, somebody asked, what is mind? So see, we have a gross body, which is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Inside this gross body lives a subtle body, mind, false ego, and intelligence. And these both gross bodies and subtle bodies cover the soul, the real soul, which is Satchidananda. Sorry, we are controlled by Maya and Krishna is controller of Maya. Right? Can we control our time of birth? Can we control where we are going to be born? Can we control our coming age? I don't want to grow old, but can I control that? Can I control my life duration of my life? Can I control my death? Anything? No, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
because we are under the influence, because we are like being forced, but Krishna is not like that. Now, this sounds too much, right? So far what we have studied is Krishna is telling Arjun that I spoke this imperishable science to Vivaswan, who spoke it to his son, whose name is Manu. Manu spoke it to his son, Ikshvaku. King Ikshvaku gave it to the saintly kings on earth, but then over the period of time, the knowledge as it is appears to be lost. So I'm going to re-speak it to you. Re-speak the knowledge to you, and then Arjun's qualifications are given that what makes him choose Arjun to speak the verses or to speak Bhagavad Gita, sorry. And then Arjun is like a little bit astonished that, wait a second, we are both contemporary to each other. Sun God is so old. How is it possible that you spoke this knowledge to Sun God? Then Krishna says, actually, both of us have gone through many births. You have forgotten, I haven't. Then we came to the section where Krishna says that how Krishna appears, why Krishna appears, when Krishna appears, what is the difference between, what is the benefit of knowing Krishna's appearance, the secrets of Krishna's appearance. And has anybody in the history been able to know Krishna? Krishna himself is answering this question. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashitaha bhavo jnana tapasa Puta madbhavam agataha ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamiham mam avartanuvartante manushyam partha sarvashaha. Okay, we'll come back to this photo a little later. Let's see this. So who has been able to know Krishna? being freed from anger, from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So these are the exclusion and inclusion criteria to know Krishna. We have to be free. Vita means free. From what? Free from what? Raga. Raga means attachment. Bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Krodha. Krodha means anger. So one has to be free from, it's not that, okay, I'm going to go to Krishna because I have some sort of an attachment that I need to get fulfilled. I'm going to go to Krishna because I have fear of some material life. I'm going to go to Krishna because I'm frustrated and angry with my life. One got to be free from all this. Manmaya mam pashitaha. That person, those persons have been able to really attain Krishna and actually go back to him. And then he says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sativa vajamiham. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. It's not that Krishna is not going to force his presence in our life. He's going to come only that much that we allow him to come, because it's a relationship of love. Love doesn't mean force. Okay, it's very clear that as I surrender, then Krishna will appear. I reward them accordingly. Right? Krishna is rewarding the cows in Vrindavan. This is Krishna and Balram, and Krishna and Krishna's friends. All these things are going on, different rasas. In Sanskrit, it is called rasa. Rasa means mellow. Different relationships that the Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoys with his devotees depends on the surrender of the devotee. Kangshanatha karmanam siddhim yajanta iva devataha kshiparam hi manushya loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. This is interesting. It's like so Krishna is saying, come to me, come to me, come to me. But then there are sometimes we say, no. Krishna says, come, and we say, no. When do we say no is what Krishna is revealing here, which will be more elaborately explained in later chapters, especially chapter number 7. When do we voluntarily say no, Krishna, I don't want to come to you. Says, men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Okay, so when we go to Krishna, and I say, okay, Krishna, please fill my bank balance. Krishna, please give me a very nice family. Krishna, give me a very big house. Krishna, give me cars. Krishna, give me this. Krishna. So Krishna is not just going to give because there is love involved, right? Krishna studies the person and says, okay, if I give you this, and if you become more attached to me by this gift of mine, then you're worthy. But if you're not getting attached to me and you will get succumbed by the attraction of the object itself, then Krishna does not give. So basically, it's not always that Krishna gives when we go. But demigods, they don't consider. You go, they give it. It's like ATM machine. You put a number and you get it. So that is why people who are only requiring some sort of a result from their prayer, they think twice before going to Krishna directly, right? Otherwise, you just end up with Surya, Chandra, Varun, Mother Lakshmi, and then you just get it. Just go do some rituals and you get it. Well, what is the relationship between demigods and Krishna? We'll figure out. We're still in 4th chapter. But Krishna wants everyone. Okay, Krishna is not going to leave someone because somebody has desires other than Krishna. People say, if Krishna loves me, why can't he just take me home with holding my hand? Well, he is. That's why he made this division. Chatur varnam maya shreshtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. See, 3rd time, avyayam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the 4 divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So it's okay, Not everyone who's coming to Krishna is coming with the intention to become Krishna's friend or fight a war on behalf of Krishna like Arjun did. There are some limiting factors. Okay, Krishna said, fine. Then he created this Chatur Varnam. Chatur means 4. Varna means occupational duty. Maya Shrishtam, I created. Based on what? Guna Karma Vibhaga Shaha. Vibhaga means division. So I created these 4 occupational divisions in human society based on guna and karma. Guna means what mode is our personality most affected with. Am I in the mode of ignorance? Am I in the mode of passion? Or is there a mixture of passion and ignorance? Or am I in the mode of goodness? Based on that, we get to work. And then what happens? Then Krishna creates it, but he's not affected by it. Although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer being unchangeable. It's not that Krishna also becomes like that. Okay, so this is, so person who's in the mode of goodness usually has Brahminical qualities. Person who's in the mode of Kshatriya, 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita explains the qualities with the title. Somebody says, I'm Brahman, then there are 9 qualities to check off. Somebody says, I am Kshatriya, then there are 7 qualities to check off, to validate, okay, you are Kshatriya Varna. Somebody says, I am Vaishya, then there are 4 qualities to check off. Somebody says, I am Shudra, then there is 1 quality to check off, okay? Nowhere it is mentioned in the Shastra that it is based on birth. It's not based on birth. But right now, the so-called caste system, which is prevalent in the world, is based on birth. I am a Brahmana because what is the most common thing you've heard? I'm a Brahmana because I am born in a Brahmana family. Yeah.
Born in a
Yes,
Brahmin
Mataji.
Born in a Brahmana
I am
family.
a Kshatriya because I am born in a Kshatriya family. But that's superficial, no meaning. What has meaning is this guna and karma. I may be a son or daughter of a High Court judge, but because I'm born as a child of a High Court judge, does it automatically mean that I am a High Court judge? Or I have to earn some qualification to
No.
become that?
No,
No, Mataji.
we need qualification.
Very nice. So it's common sense, right? We need qualification. It's not that, okay, if somebody is born in a Brahmana family, doesn't mean that they're automatically Brahmana. They have to cultivate the quality. Okay. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phalasparaha iti mam yo avijananti karma bhirna nasa badhyate. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Now, we cannot say that, oh, Krishna has created these 4 divisions based on guna and karma. That means he is also one of them. Prabhupada explains this by giving an example of a king. In his kingdom, there is a prison house. So the king goes in the prison house to inspect the work order, right? But the prisoners in the prison house think that because king has entered in the prison house, he's one of us. Is that a good understanding? Are the laws of the prison applying to king also who has come there for visit?
No, Mataji.
No.
Are you sure?
No, Mataji, no.
Yes, they will not apply because the king is the one who's actually made this law and order. Like that, when Krishna comes to the material world, Krishna has created all this, but he's not affected by it. He's not obligated to do it. He's not entangled by the results of it. Because he's created it. He's like the king who's visiting the prison house in his kingdom. Anyhow, but in Krishna's pastime, because he did say, Yadiyad acharati shreshthas tattad evataro janaha, whatever activities great men perform, common men follow. So because he has to set as a role model, he performs his pastimes as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya, as a Vaishya. Vaishya means food, agriculture, cows, trading, banking. He's taking care of the cows, is agriculture, right? And as a Shudra. Shudra means only to serve others. So in Mahabharata, he was serving Arjun, right? So that way he has played all these pastimes to leave a standard for us to follow. Okay, so very simply, Varnashram Dharma, who's created it? Who's created? Krishna, who is a non-doer, Vidhi Akartaram, transcendental to the modes. And what is a mixture of? What is Varnashram Dharma? A mixture of guna and karma, based on what mode of material nature is active in, is most prominent in my personality, and what is the work that's suited for that particular mode of nature. Why? Because to avoid degradation, to protect, to support. You know, if so-called Brahmana has a Shudra mentality, but they're working as a Brahmana, it's not going to be a proper business. The ultimate aim is to live in harmony and cooperation and not discrimination, so that we have time to understand our spiritual life. Okay, not just superficial life, but really the knowledge of the self. Okay, so every particular varna, there is every particular ashram. Ashram means spiritual order. Varna means the occupational order. So there are 4 varnas, and then also corresponding to the 4 varnas, there are 4 ashramas, which are described more, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Detailed description is in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the 4 varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So Brahmanas can have 4 ashramas. I don't want to confuse. So Brahmana can be a brahmachari, grahast, vanaprasth, or sannyasi. But Kshatriya can only be a brahmachari, grahast, or vanaprasth. Vaishya can only be a brahmachari or grahastha. And for Shudras, there's only one ashram, grahastha ashram. Right? We spend so much money on wedding ceremonies because other sanskar we don't do. And then he says, okay, karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. Akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. It says Krishna does not want us to waste time in understanding the intricacies of karma, because he is the creator of the model, and he himself is saying they're very, very hard. He's not just saying hard, very hard to understand, but just know broadly what is action, what is inaction, and what is forbidden action. So broadly, karma is defined in this chapter as action which are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Vikarma is actions which are performed by the misuse of one's freedom, which direct one to lower life. Akarma is action which will free one from the cycle of birth and death, because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So sounds heavy, so I'll cut it down. Vikarma means person who is not following the revealed scriptures, and there is a risk of being degraded to the lower species of life, and they are not appreciated by saintly people. You know, person who is, I am a human being. I have independence to eat Krishna prasadam, or I have independence to eat the rejected food like meat, a dead body of other person, other living entity. So if I do that, I can do that, but then I have to live with the consequences. So that's vikarma, not to be done, forbidden action. Because the purpose of life is to understand the self. Karmi is a person who follows the Vedas. The person is pious. They can attain higher planetary systems. But then what happens? That they eventually return to this earthly planet. Krishna says this in 8th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Abrahma bhuvanar loka punar avartina Arjuna. The one can go up. You know the ferry wheel? You go up and you like debit all your good credits, and then the credits are now gone, then come down again. Our karma has come to the platform of devotional service to Krishna. So know the fruitive activity binds and means rebirth. So akarma basically means doing anything for Krishna. Krishna, I will do the work that's in my hand, but I'm going to do it with an intention for Krishna's enjoyment. Like so as simple as cooking in the house. You can cook. Some people I have seen, they taste while cooking. But that's not that's not for Krishna then. Krishna has to be, one has to start thinking that, okay, I'm going to cook for what Krishna likes. I'm going to offer to the deities or to the pharaoh in the house. And then I'm going to offer to my family as a offered food, which is called prasad. Before offering, it's called bhog, and after offering, it's called prasadam. Then that's a karma. One gets free. But if somebody is eating, drinking for one's own enjoyment of the tongue, and the tongue that produces enjoyment in the mind, then that is vikarma. Okay, basically, with Nectar of Devotion, there's a book called Nectar of Devotion or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It describes that what leads us to do these sinful activities. So Rupa Goswami Prabhupada explains ignorance. Ignorance means having no knowledge. I don't know. I didn't know. But then we have to still suffer the material consequences. For example, if you are driving in a country, let's say India is right-hand drive. Now, if you're driving in a country this is left-hand driving, and you don't follow the rules of the road because it's confusing, and then the police catches, is it a good enough reason to say, I'm sorry, I was not following the rules because I don't know the rules? So please don't give me a ticket.
You cannot say.
You have to suffer, right? So just because I don't know, and that's why I did it, is not the good enough reason for us not to suffer. We will get the consequences. Okay, so then how do we come from ignorance to light? Antidote of ignorance is knowledge. How do we know that? So that's why we need this. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So for us, if I first recognize whether I'm in ignorance or in knowledge, and if I recognize myself as in ignorance, then I need to approach to a knowledge. So I have to build that bridge. How do I build a bridge? With the help of a spiritual master. Right, with the help of the scriptures, with the help of the saintly people. How? What is important? Because they are tattvadarshi. They can see, because he has seen the truth. And then Krishna further goes to explain the importance of this knowledge. What is the harm in being ignorant? Well, this is what Krishna's take is. Nahi jnanena sadrasham pavitram iha vidyate. Tat swayam yoga samsiddha kale natmani vindati. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Okay. Shraddha vallabhate jnanam tatpara samyate tendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena gacchati. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge. And having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. This knowledge is the most pure. This knowledge is not contaminated. This knowledge can give us the happiness that we are looking for outside of us. And this knowledge also attains us to the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there is a stop sign here. So who will not relish this knowledge? Who will not relish? Ajnanascha shraddhananscha samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam loko asti na paro na sukham samshayatmanaha. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. There is a difference between doubting. 34th verse, Krishna is saying, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Says, go approach a spiritual master and ask a question. Pariprashnena, ask a question. But then here he's saying, don't doubt it, whether it is true or not. Okay, there's got to be, then we are going to doubt everything. That whether I'm true or not, whether my speech is true or not, what is my real, so everything, that doubting soul, Krishna is saying there is no happiness for that person even in this world. So forget about going to Krishna. So who can achieve the transcendental knowledge? This is the summary. One who has faith can acquire transcendental knowledge, and one who is free from doubts. Free from doubts doesn't mean that person does not have an inquiry, is not curious, or there are no questions. Tasmat agyana sambhutam hrit sthanam jnana stithatmanaha chittevam samshayam yogam atishto stistha bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharat, stand and fight. So basically he's saying you are unable to move from your position from fighting to not fighting is because of the doubts. So those doubts can only be eradicated slashed by the weapon of knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Stand and fight. No sinful reactions can affect one who performs his duty with transcendental knowledge. Slash with weapon all doubts born of ignorance. This is a summary of this chapter. In the beginning, Krishna reveals about the history of Bhagavad Gita. That Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan, who spoke it to Manu, who spoke it to King Ikshvaku, who brought it to the earth. And then we discussed that what is the importance of knowing about Krishna's birth, how Krishna appears, why Krishna appears, when Krishna appears. And also we emphasize the importance of a parampara, to be able to call it as Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is in first 10 verses of the chapter. Then Krishna created the path of Varnashram system for us because we are not ready to just go and surrender and leave aside and just do the devotional service. So, okay, go step by step. Based on guna and karma, there is a varnashram system which will create peace in the society and will give us time, will give us the ultimate goal of achieving the self-realization. And then he touches a little bit about don't get entangled in the intricacies of karma. So from verse number 16 to 24. Then he talks about different ways that people try to achieve this transcendental knowledge. I didn't cover that so much in the overview, but from verse 25 to 33, jnana yagna parantapaha. Some people do jnana or acquire knowledge. Some people try to understand the self by performing some ritualistic activities. Some people do it by charity, like that. So summary of transcendental knowledge, if one has to come from the place of ignorance to place of knowledge, one needs a guru, that vidhi pranipatena. And that guru is Tattvadarshi, can give us the knowledge which is sublime, which is transcendental, which is not a part of this world, which will give us a spiritual happiness. And who will not get that knowledge is the one who is a Sanshaya Atma. Sanshaya means doubt, Atma means soul. So doubting soul will not get that knowledge. Okay. I will show you one video, as is our culture, and